Tonight's story begins with a rumor. Not the kind of rumor that spreads through school hallways or office gossip. This one lives in darker places. It appears in obscure forum posts, whispered conspiracy discussions, and half-deleted threads that seem to vanish just when things start to get interesting. For years, people on the internet have talked about something called the Ninth Circle. Some say it is a secret society hidden inside the most powerful institutions on Earth. Others claim it is an underground cult connected to elite figures, operating beyond the reach of law and morality. According to the rumors, it involves rituals, hidden gatherings, and crimes so disturbing that even discussing them publicly is considered dangerous. But here is the real question. Where did this story actually begin? Was there ever any evidence? Or did the entire legend grow out of internet myths, misinterpretations, and fear? Tonight, we are going to trace the origins of the Ninth Circle rumors. We will examine how the story first appeared, how it spread across the internet, and why it became one of the most disturbing conspiracy narratives ever discussed online. But before we begin, make sure you are subscribed to the Grim Tapes. If you enjoy deep investigations into dark internet legends, unsolved mysteries, and disturbing stories that most people are afraid to explore, subscribe now so you do not miss the next investigation. Now turn down the lights, settle in, and let's begin tracing the story that many people wish had never been told. The name Ninth Circle immediately sounds ominous. That is not an accident. The phrase actually originates from one of the most famous works of literature ever written, Dante Alighieri's Inferno. In Dante's vision of hell, there are 9 circles, each representing a different level of punishment for sin. The deeper the circle, the more severe the crime and the more terrifying the punishment. The 9th and final circle is reserved for the worst sinners imaginable. In Dante's story, this is the place where traitors are condemned for eternity. It is a frozen wasteland where the most unforgivable betrayals are punished. Over centuries, the concept of the Ninth Circle became a symbolic phrase. It came to represent the darkest possible level of human wrongdoing. So when the conspiracy known as the Ninth Circle began appearing online, the name immediately created a powerful psychological impact. It suggested something hidden at the deepest and most horrifying level of society. But to understand how the rumor began, we have to move forward many centuries from Dante's medieval poem and into the chaotic landscape of the modern internet. During the early years of online forums, anonymous communities began forming around discussions of conspiracies. Platforms like message boards and early social media sites allowed people to share theories that traditional media would never publish. Many of these discussions focused on secret societies and hidden power structures. The idea that powerful elites might be involved in secret rituals or underground organizations has existed for hundreds of years. Groups like the Illuminati, Freemasons, and other alleged secret orders have long been surrounded by speculation and myth. But sometime in the early 21st century, a new name began appearing in certain corners of the internet. The Ninth Circle. At first, the references were vague. A few anonymous posts mentioned rumors of a hidden network operating among powerful individuals. According to these posts, the group supposedly engaged in ritualistic behavior and secret gatherings. No concrete evidence was provided. But the mystery itself made people curious. Soon, internet users began trying to piece together fragments of the story. Some posts claimed that the Ninth Circle was connected to political figures. Others suggested it was tied to wealthy elites in Europe and North America. And that is where the rumors started becoming darker. Certain conspiracy communities began linking the Ninth Circle to allegations of ritual abuse and hidden crimes involving children. These claims were extremely disturbing. But they were also based entirely on speculation and anonymous testimony. Still, once such ideas appear online, they can spread rapidly. In the age of digital communication, stories do not need proof to travel across the world. They only need curiosity and fear. As discussions grew, some individuals began attempting to trace the supposed origins of the group. One frequently mentioned theory suggested that the rumor began in Belgium during the 1990s. At that time, Belgium was shaken by one of the most horrifying criminal cases in modern European history. The case involved a man named Marc Dutroux. Dutroux was convicted of kidnapping, abusing, and murdering multiple young girls. His crimes shocked the entire country and triggered massive public outrage. What made the case even more disturbing were the allegations that Dutroux might not have acted alone. During the investigation, rumors circulated that he was connected to a network of powerful individuals who protected him or participated in similar crimes. Some witnesses made statements suggesting the existence of organized groups involved in ritual abuse. However, these claims were never proven in court. Investigators did examine many of these allegations, but they were unable to confirm the existence of any elite cult operating behind the scenes. Despite the lack of verified evidence, the speculation continued to spread. Some conspiracy theorists began referring to this alleged network as the Ninth Circle. Over time, the phrase started appearing in blogs, online documentaries, and underground forums dedicated to conspiracy research. And as more people encountered the story, the details began evolving. In some versions, the Ninth Circle was described as an ancient cult with connections to aristocratic families. In others, it was portrayed as a modern network of powerful individuals who gathered secretly for ritualistic ceremonies. There were even claims that the group operated across multiple countries and maintained influence in politics, finance, and media. But when researchers tried to verify these claims, they encountered a familiar problem. Most of the sources were anonymous. Many of the stories traced back to the same small group of websites, blogs, and conspiracy forums. Without verifiable evidence, separating fact from fiction became nearly impossible. And that is one of the reasons the Ninth Circle rumor remains so controversial. For some people, the lack of proof suggests the entire story is nothing more than a conspiracy theory built from speculation. For others, the absence of evidence is interpreted as proof that powerful forces are hiding the truth. This pattern appears in many conspiracy narratives. When evidence is missing, believers often conclude that the information is being deliberately suppressed. But historians and investigative journalists usually take a different approach. They look for documented sources, verifiable testimonies, and corroborated evidence. When researchers attempted to trace the Ninth Circle rumor through this lens, they discovered something interesting. Most references to the group appeared after the rise of internet conspiracy culture. Earlier historical records rarely mentioned any organization with that specific name. That suggests the phrase may have been adopted later as a symbolic label rather than the actual name of a real group. In other words, the legend might have grown from a mixture of real criminal cases, historical symbolism, and online speculation. But the story did not stop there. As the rumor spread through the internet, it began merging with other conspiracy narratives. Some people linked the Ninth Circle to secret government programs. Others connected it to alleged elite trafficking rings. And as social media expanded, videos discussing the topic started gaining millions of views. These videos often presented dramatic interpretations of the story, sometimes mixing real historical events with unverified claims. The result was a narrative that felt extremely convincing to many viewers. When multiple stories overlap and reinforce each other, they can create the illusion of confirmation. But confirmation and evidence are not always the same thing. Even today, the Ninth Circle rumor continues to circulate online. Some people insist that hidden documents and suppressed investigations prove its existence. Others argue that the entire narrative is a modern internet myth that evolved through repeated retellings. And that brings us to one of the most fascinating aspects of this story. Why do rumors like this capture the public imagination so strongly? Psychologists who study conspiracy theories often point to a few key reasons. First, humans naturally search for hidden patterns in complex events. When tragic crimes occur, people often feel that there must be a larger explanation behind them. Second, stories involving secret elites tap into long-standing fears about power and corruption. Throughout history, many societies have believed that powerful groups operate in secret to control events. Sometimes those suspicions are justified. Governments and institutions have been caught hiding information before. But other times, speculation grows far beyond what evidence can support. The internet accelerates this process. Information travels instantly, but verification often moves much slower. A dramatic claim can spread across thousands of websites before investigators have time to confirm or refute it. And once a story becomes emotionally powerful, it can remain influential even if its origins are unclear. The Ninth Circle rumor is a perfect example of that phenomenon. It combines disturbing allegations, historical symbolism, and modern internet culture into a narrative that feels almost cinematic. But after years of investigation, researchers still cannot identify a clear origin point where the story began. Instead, it appears to have grown gradually through many different sources. Fragments of real events. Interpretations of historical texts. Anonymous online discussions. Speculation layered upon speculation. All blending together into a modern legend. So where does that leave us? At the center of a mystery that might not have a simple answer. Perhaps the Ninth Circle rumor is simply an internet myth that grew larger with every retelling. Or perhaps it reflects deeper fears about hidden power structures in the real world. Either way, the story reveals something important about how information spreads in the digital age. Truth, speculation, fear, and curiosity often travel together. And sometimes, they become impossible to separate. Before we end tonight's investigation, think about the questions this story raises. If a secret organization truly existed at the highest levels of power, would ordinary people ever discover it? How would evidence appear in a world where information can be hidden, manipulated, or erased? And perhaps the most unsettling question of all: how many of the stories we dismiss as conspiracy theories might actually contain fragments of truth? Or how many terrifying rumors are nothing more than shadows created by our own fears? Let me know what you think. Do you believe the Ninth Circle rumor could have originated from real hidden crimes and slowly evolved into a larger legend? Or do you think the entire story is simply a myth created by the internet? Write your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective might help uncover another piece of the puzzle. If you found this investigation interesting, make sure you subscribe to the Grim Tapes so you do not miss the next deep dive into dark mysteries, unexplained legends, and the stories hiding in the shadows of the internet. And if you enjoyed tonight's exploration, leave a like on the video. It helps the channel reach more people who are fascinated by mysteries like this. Until next time, stay curious. Because sometimes the most disturbing stories are not the ones we can prove. They are the ones we cannot fully explain.